The more you explain yourself to people who already doubt you, the weaker you look. Not because your dream is weak, not because your plan is wrong, not because your ambition is foolish, but because you just handed them the judge's seat. You turned your ambition into a trial. You turned your future into a debate. You turned your vision into something that needs permission from people who have built nothing, risked nothing, sacrificed nothing, and earned no authority over your life. This is where ambitious men lose power. Not in public, not in failure, not when people laugh. They lose power in the private moment where they feel the need to be understood by someone who already decided to see them as small. A family member questions your plan, and suddenly you are explaining your entire future at the dinner table. A friend laughs at your discipline, and suddenly you are defending your schedule to someone who cannot even control his own habits. A co-worker calls your ambition unrealistic, and suddenly you are giving a presentation to a man who is terrified of risk. A stranger leaves one insult, and suddenly you are typing paragraphs to someone who has no authority, no competence, and no consequence in your life. That is the trap. You think you are defending your name. You are not. You are asking for permission from someone who never planned to respect you. Machiavelli understood something cold about human nature. Men do not judge you by the purity of your intentions. They judge by position, appearance, and results. He wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand." That means most people do not care what you meant. They care what they can see. They do not respect the dream in your head. They respect the proof in your hands. They do not honor the pain behind your discipline. They honor the result that can no longer be denied. So today, understand this clearly. You do not owe explanations to people who benefit from misunderstanding you. You do not owe emotional essays to people who have already decided what role you are allowed to play. You do not owe your reasons to those who only ask questions so they can find a weak point. From now on, use one rule. Explain only to people with authority, competence, or skin in the game. Authority means they have earned the right to question you. Competence means they have results in the field they are speaking about. Skin in the game means they share the consequence of the decision. Everyone else gets silence, distance, or proof. Most men think their problem is communication. They think, if I could just explain it better, they would support me. If I could just show them the vision, they would believe in me. If I could just make them understand how serious I am, they would stop doubting me. This is the thinking of a man who has not yet studied power. Because many people are not misunderstanding you. They are refusing to understand you. There is a difference. Misunderstanding is innocent. Refusal is strategic. Some people do not want clarity, they want control. They do not ask questions because they want truth. They ask questions because they want access to your uncertainty. They want to see if you can be shaken. They want to see if your identity still depends on their reaction. And when you begin explaining, you reveal everything. You reveal where you are insecure. You reveal what opinion still bothers you. You reveal which wound is still open. You reveal which person still has power over your emotional state. Your explanation becomes a map. And weak people love maps. They do not need to defeat you with strength. They only need to find the part of you that still wants to be accepted. That is where the leash is. The dangerous man does not give maps to people who never earned access. He does not open the gates of his mind for every doubter who knocks. He does not treat every question like it deserves an answer. He understands that not every question is a request for truth. Sometimes a question is a hook. Sometimes it is bait. Sometimes it is a test to see whether you still need approval. When someone says, "Why are you working so hard?" they may not be asking because they care. They may be asking because your discipline makes their laziness uncomfortable. When someone says, "Why do you care about money so much?" they may not be asking because they are wise. They may be asking because your hunger exposes the agreement they made with weakness. When someone says, "Who do you think you are?" they are not asking for information. They are asking you to shrink, and every time you explain yourself to the wrong person, you step down from ruler to defendant. In a courtroom, the judge does not explain. The defendant explains. The defendant sweats. The defendant presents evidence. The defendant begs the room to interpret him fairly. Now ask yourself, how many times have you lived as the defendant in your own life? How many times have you defended your ambition to people who have built nothing? How many times have you justified your standards to people who have none? How many times have you explained your silence to people who only wanted access to your weakness? How many times have you presented your soul to people who were never qualified to examine it? This is not humility. This is poor strategy. A man who explains himself to everyone has no border. He has no kingdom. He has no inner court. He lets anyone walk into the palace of his mind and demand documents. Why are you doing this? Why are you acting different? Why are you so quiet? Why do you think you can succeed? Why are you working so hard? Why are you not like before? And like a servant, he rushes to answer, because deep down he still believes their approval will free him. It will not. Their approval is not freedom. It is a loan, and the price is obedience. The moment you depend on their approval, they can threaten you with withdrawal. They can punish you with silence. They can control you with disappointment. They can make you explain again and again until your ambition becomes exhausted before it becomes real. This is why unsupported men are especially vulnerable. When you are building with no support, no network, no family money, no one opening doors, and no one coming to save you, there is a silent hunger inside you, a hunger to be seen, a hunger for one person to finally say, "I get it," a hunger for someone to look at your struggle and say, "You were right to keep going." That hunger is real. But if you do not master it, it becomes a leash. A family member doubts you, and you start explaining. A friend laughs at your goals, and you start justifying. A woman questions your direction, and you start performing certainty. A stranger insults your ambition, and suddenly you are defending your destiny to someone who could not survive 1 week inside your discipline. This is how energy gets stolen, not through violence, not through obvious betrayal, not through one great enemy standing in front of you, but through the endless emotional tax of trying to be understood by people who are committed to seeing you as small. Every argument is a withdrawal. Every explanation is a leak. Every attempt to be understood by the wrong person is a tax on your future. And focus is the only currency the unsupported man cannot afford to waste. You do not have unlimited energy. You do not have unlimited confidence. You do not have unlimited attention. So stop spending your strength defending a future that has not been built yet. Build it first. Let them misunderstand the process. Let them mock the early stage. Let them call your discipline obsession. Let them call your silence arrogance. Let them call your ambition unrealistic. Their words are not a verdict. Their doubt is not evidence. Their opinion is not authority. You are not on trial. Your ambition is not up for debate. Your future is not a group project. The man who needs to be understood before he moves will always be controlled by people who refuse to understand him. The man who can move while being misunderstood becomes difficult to stop, because now he is not waiting for emotional permission. He is not negotiating with doubt. He is not asking the old world to bless his escape. He is building while they talk. He is learning while they laugh. He is improving while they gossip. He is stacking evidence while they wait for him to fail. And that is where power begins. There is a difference between feedback and access. Most men confuse the two. Feedback is when someone with competence looks at your execution and shows you where the blade is dull. Access is when someone with no results demands entry into your reasons, your emotions, your wounds, your next move, and your inner state. A mentor asks questions to sharpen you. A client asks questions because he shares consequence with you. A partner asks questions because your decision affects the mission. But a doubter asks questions to locate your weakness. He wants to know where you are unsure. He wants to know what still hurts. He wants to know which part of your identity is still waiting for applause. So before you answer another person, ask one question. What has this person built? Not what do they think, not how loud are they, not how close are they to me, not how long have I known them, what have they built? If a man has never built discipline, he does not get to audit your routine. If a man has never built wealth, he does not get to mock your financial ambition. If a man has never built courage, he does not get to laugh at your risk. If a man has never built freedom, he does not get to vote on your path out of captivity. This does not mean you become arrogant. Arrogance is needing to appear above correction. Power is knowing who is qualified to correct you. There are people you should listen to. Listen to the man who has walked the road. Listen to the person whose results expose your excuses. Listen to the client whose money is on the line. Listen to the partner who shares the burden. Listen to the mentor who can see the flaw in your execution without needing to dominate your identity. But do not confuse criticism with wisdom. Do not confuse doubt with insight. Do not confuse mockery with truth. And do not confuse emotional pressure with authority. Some people are not trying to help you think. They are trying to make you return. Return to the old habits. Return to the old circle. Return to the old version of you that made them comfortable. Your growth irritates certain people because your movement exposes their stillness. Your discipline exposes their excuses. Your hunger exposes their resignation. Your silence exposes their addiction to noise. Your ambition exposes the deal they made with mediocrity. So when they attack your path, understand what is really happening. They are not always evaluating you. Sometimes they are defending themselves. They need your dream to be unrealistic because they abandoned theirs. They need your discipline to be excessive because they have none. They need your silence to be arrogance because your focus makes their noise look cheap. They need your ambition to be delusion because if you are serious, then their comfort begins to look like cowardice. This is why explaining does not work. You are trying to answer a question they did not ask honestly. They ask, "Why are you doing this?" But the hidden question is, "Why are you making me feel small?" They ask, "Who do you think you are?" But the hidden question is, "What happens if you become more than I expected?" They ask, "Why can you not just be normal?" But the hidden question is, "Why are you escaping the prison I accepted?" Once you understand this, you stop taking doubt personally. You start seeing it strategically. Doubt is not always information about your future. Sometimes it is information about their ceiling. And when a man reveals his ceiling, do not argue with him from the ground. Climb. Now comes the weapon, the absolute pause. This is the moment that separates the reactive man from the sovereign man. Someone questions your ambition. Someone mocks your work. Someone throws a passive insult into the room. Someone says, "You really think that will work?" Your body wants to react. Your mind prepares a defense. You want to explain the plan. You want to prove that you are not naive. You want to show them you have thought everything through. That moment is where power is either lost or kept. Do not rush. pause. Let the silence enter the room before your ego does. Look at the person once. Do not glare. Do not perform. Do not smirk. Do not give them the satisfaction of seeing that they touched something. Then answer with fewer words than they expected. You can say, noted. You can say, you can think that. You can say, we will see. You can say, I am not discussing this. Or you can say nothing and return to your work. The words are not the weapon. The state behind the words is the weapon. A weak man says we will see while boiling inside. A powerful man says we will see because the argument has already become irrelevant to him. He knows time will speak. He knows proof will speak. He knows the future does not require the present approval of small minds. When you explain, you create a debate. When you defend, you create a trial. When you react, you create entertainment. But when you pause, you create a mirror. The person who provokes you expects payment. They expect anger. They expect anger. They expect embarrassment. They expect a long explanation. They expect proof that their words entered your nervous system. When you give them nothing, their attack hangs in the air without a landing place. They are forced to hear themselves. And many people cannot tolerate the sound of their own hostility when you refuse to join it. That is why silence feels heavy. Silence removes the disguise of conflict. If you shout back, it becomes a fight. If you explain, it becomes a debate. If you defend, it becomes a trial. But if you pause and remain calm, it becomes a mirror. And many people hate mirrors. From that point forward, replace explanation with evidence. Every time you feel the urge to explain, convert it into output. Someone doubts your business? Do not explain the business model for 30 minutes. Improve the offer, send the message, make the call, publish the video, build the asset, sharpen the skill. Someone mocks your discipline. Do not defend your schedule, follow it harder. Someone questions your future. Do not describe the future, construct it. Someone underestimates you. Do not correct them. Use the discount. Being underestimated is painful only when you still need recognition. To a strategic man, being underestimated is cover. It lets him move without resistance. It lets him build in the blind spot. It lets him gather skill while no one is watching. It lets him become dangerous before anyone notices. Silence is not passivity. Silence is concealment. Silence is conservation. Silence is discipline. Silence is the refusal to leak power before the result is ready. The world does not reward men for being misunderstood. It rewards men who become impossible to ignore. So stop wanting the emotional pleasure of winning the argument now more than you want the strategic satisfaction of winning later. Stop chasing the comeback. Stop chasing the paragraph. Stop chasing the moment where everyone finally says, "You were right." That moment may come. It may not. And it cannot matter. Because the need to be understood is often the last chain. A man can leave the room. He can leave the city. He can leave the old circle. He can change his habits. He can start building. But if he still needs the old world to approve his escape, he is not free. He is just running with a leash around his neck. Freedom begins when you can be misunderstood without bleeding. When they call you arrogant and you keep working. When they call you unrealistic and you keep building. When they say you changed and you do not apologize. When they say you think you are better and you do not shrink. When they doubt your path and you do not turn your future into a presentation. That is when you become dangerous. Not loud, not dramatic, not desperate. Dangerous. Because a man who does not need validation cannot be steered by rejection. A man who does not need applause cannot be starved by silence. A man who does not need to be understood cannot be trapped in explanation. He is free to build. And the free man is terrifying to those who depend on approval. So from now on, protect your reasons. Protect your attention. Protect your energy. Your reasons are not public property. Your ambition is not a community discussion. Your future is not a democratic vote. Your vision does not need approval from people who have never paid the price for one. Explain only to authority, competence, or skin in the game. Everyone else gets silence, distance, or proof. Your broke friend does not get to mock your financial ambition. Your undisciplined relative does not get to audit your routine. Your comfortable coworker does not get to laugh at your risk. Your jealous peer does not get a detailed explanation of your next move. Your old circle does not get a vote on your new identity. They may have known your past. That does not give them ownership of your future. The next time someone doubts you, remember this. You are not on trial. Your ambition is not up for debate. Your future is not a group project. Your silence is not weakness. Your restraint is not fear. Your refusal to explain is not arrogance. It is sovereignty. Let them misunderstand. Let them underestimate. Let them talk. Let them talk. Let them talk. Let them laugh. Let them create the version of you they can handle. Then build something their version cannot survive. Do not explain the plan. Execute it. Do not defend the dream. Fund it. Do not argue with doubt. Outgrow it. Do not beg to be seen. Become impossible to ignore. The people who already doubted you do not need more access to your mind. They need less. And you need more proof. Subscribe to the channel if you are building with no support, no network, and no one coming to save you. No support, no permission, no explanations. Build anyway.